back to the Friday Nights in Carolina show. If you love all the content, feel free to hit that subscribe button for more content. Today, I'm joined by the head coach of Grimsley High School, Coach Darryl Brown. Coach Brown, welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having me, Brennan. It's good to be on.
Appreciate it, Coach. I just want to say congratulations last week on your 27-0 win over Cox Mill. For the audience that may not know about you, tell a little bit about yourself and Grimsley High School.
Well, this is my 5th season at Grimsley. Prior to that, I was at Southern Guilford for 11 years. But our football program's come a long ways in the last 3 or 4 years, and we got really good players that work really hard. They're tough. They play together. And, been through a lot, like a lot of kids these past few months. So they're excited about having a season and the fact that we're getting to play.
Definitely. So we'll talk a little bit about last Friday's game, a 27-0 shutout win against Cox Mill to open things up. Tell me, what was it like? What has it been like in this first game, playing in the spring season, especially the weather, as well as what was some of your key points you took away from that game?
Well, it's been different, obviously. But to be honest with you, once we get on the practice field or, got to Cox Mill last Friday night, it felt like it was the way it's supposed to be. It felt normal, the fact that we were getting to play. The only time it really feels different is during the course of a day when you're logistically having to handle so many different things that are asked upon us right now with protocols and guidelines and all that kind of stuff. And then the weather obviously has been, it's been brutal, early on. So that has caused a wrinkle in a lot of things as far as how we practice and do things like that. Our kids have handled it really well. They've been able to adjust to the things that we've asked out of them and how we're going to go about practice and our schedule and our routine. So I've been really proud of them and our coaches for how they've handled everything and being prepared each and every day. Friday night, though, like I said, getting to Cox Mill, the weather was tough again Friday night. I think, to be honest with you, in my 20-some years coaching, 16 as a head coach, is probably condition-wise the worst game I've ever coached in. As far as we got there about 3:30 and it started raining as soon as we pulled up, and it didn't stop until we left. Mm-hmm. And it was cold on top of it. Thankfully, they had a turf field, mm-hmm. But I don't mind playing in the cold and I don't mind playing in the rain, but when you mix them together, it makes it really tough. But our kids didn't complain. They were excited for the opportunity to play. And they had the right mindset going down there Friday night. And I thought we played really well considering the conditions.
So as you might have known, the state of North Carolina was able to increase the capacity of outdoor venues and stuff like that. Was a crowd really a factor going into that Friday night game, or what was the crowd like there?
To be honest with you, I'm not really sure what Cox Mill had on their side. I heard some of our players tell me yesterday that they had like a small gathering of students. I didn't even notice that. Mm-hmm. But I did notice our parents on our side. And thankfully, we thought going into it that we weren't going to be able to have anybody from our fan base at the game. But our parents at the last minute were allowed to be there. And we had a good group of them that traveled down with us and was at the game Friday night. And even throughout the game, I heard them a little bit, and just knowing that they were behind us felt really good. And I think, like in most cases, as a player and as a coach, once you get into the game, whether it's 100 people or 10,000 people, you don't really notice that much because you're so locked in on what your job is and what you're trying to get done. That a lot of times in football, the crowd doesn't affect your play so much. But knowing that we had those parents behind us, supporting us, and down there with us after the long layoff felt really good.
So something that I was looking at, especially a lot of the schedules, because it being a 7-game schedule, it was kind of unbalanced between the home and away games. I noticed, obviously, the game of the week for us here in Friday Nights Carolina is y'all traveling down to Kernersville to take on East Forsyth. So what is it like trying to balance multiple away games? Has your schedule kind of been more home games this year or more away games? What is that like trying to balance?
Yeah, well, when they came out with the new season, when the state did back in September, it left everybody kind of scrambling, trying to figure out who their non-conference games were going to be and things of that nature. So, because everybody's schedules was completely changed. We only have 2 home games. So we only have a 6-game season. We were not able to find a 7th game. Due to our conference being an odd number of teams, we have 5 teams in our league. So there's always somebody off once we get into conference play. And our off week fell week 5 of the spring season. And we searched all across the state trying to find a game for that week. Found a couple possible opponents. They were both lengthy drives for us. And they were not willing to come here to our place. And we just couldn't afford to have 5 road games and only 2 home games. So we're really trying to find another home game for that week, but just didn't work out for us. Our first 3 games are on the road. And that is kind of tough, having a long layoff, having to, for example, at Cox Mill Friday night, we didn't have nowhere to dress. We had no, even with the conditions, nowhere to go indoors or anything like that. So we were stuck outside in the rain the whole night. So it does make it a little bit tougher for our kids, but we kind of relish that and enjoy things being hard and being tough and, kind of use that to our advantage and kind of play off that a little bit. So our kids, like I said, handle those things well. And we're looking forward to the trip down to East Forsyth, another tough place to play against a really good team. So we're looking forward to that opportunity. And then we get started in the conference play next week with a road game.
So as you just mentioned and as said earlier, so our Friday night's game of the week will be East Forsyth versus Grimsley. In our power rankings, it's a top 15 matchup. What is your game plan going into facing a tough opponent, as you mentioned, like East Forsyth?
Yeah, well, we've played those guys quite a few times over the last few years. In fact, the last 2 years we played them in the regular season and then in the playoffs both. So they've kind of been a thorn in our side, to say the least. Coach Willard and his staff do a really good job, and they have a great program. And it's been a fun game the last couple of times against them. I think they've made us better over the last few years. I like playing tough teams. I like playing people that's going to make you better and requires you to prepare and be ready going into a Friday night. So they've actually made us better over the last few years. And, as far as this year goes, both of us are dealing with some different things, losing different players and things of that nature during all this layoff. But again, we're just excited for the opportunity. They got some good skill players defensively. Their linebackers play really fast. Got good size up front on the offensive line. I got a really good running back, a young quarterback that looks to be dynamic, a really good athlete. So it's going to take us playing really well on both sides of the ball and then obviously capitalizing on some special teams plays as well.
Awesome. So my final question, you kind of touched on it there a little bit there. Looking back at week 1 with the nice shutout win against Cox Mill at their place, what were some of the players that stood out to you in week 1 that you would think they'll make a big impact in week 2?
Well, I like a lot of our guys. I mean, we got some really good players that have been in our program now for, 3 or 4 years. And guys that defensively, we returned 8 starters from last year's team. So we rely heavily on our defense. We will not only early, but all year long. And it starts up front for us with our front guys, Travis Shaw and Tamori Thompson on the defensive line. Both were all conference, all area, all state recognition from different levels last year. Both are juniors. So, it starts with them. And then behind them, we got 4 senior linebackers that play off of them really well and have been in a lot of big games for us. Quentin Williamson, Clifton Buckram, Sincere Burnett, and Camden Allison at outside backer. So those 4 guys, like I said, have been in a lot of big games over the last 3 years and, are the center of everything that we do defensively, making our calls and getting us lined up and stuff like that. On the back end with Miles Gowans at safety, he's a returning starter. And then we got 2 new starters at corners, but really like those guys a lot. Khalil Williams and Caleb Curtin, who transferred into us. And then our other safety spot, Jordan Watkins and Antoine Shaw, rotate there, and they've done a good job. Offensively, for us, each and every week, it's going to be taking care of the football. And when we have an opportunity to make plays, go make them. And we did that Friday night. We didn't turn the football over on the offensive side until late in the game. And those were kind of more weather-related issues as much as anything. But at quarterback, Alonzo Barnett had a really good game on Friday, and we're going to need him to play really well this Friday. We got 4 or 5 receivers that we count on heavily. Lawson Albright returning at tight end, and Christian Tutu and Anthony Duncan's on the outside. Tyson Resper is our slot receiver. And then Grimsley, we want to run the football. If we can run the football, it kind of sets us up being able to throw it. And that's kind of what we've been built around the last few years. And our offensive line's young, but they played hard and they played well Friday. And then Jael Melton at running back had a really good game for us in his first start for us Friday night. So I mentioned several guys there, but it takes all of us, and we count on each and every one of those guys fulfilling their role.
Definitely. Guys, this was Darryl Brown from Grimsley High School. Coach, thank you so much for taking time to join on the show, and we'll looking forward to seeing you this Friday night.
Sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you.